All right, Darryl, we've got another email. This one's not so much workplace, but it's in the home. And so
Okay.
we've got a mom who's seeking help. She's writing with a heavy heart and desperate need for guidance. She's a mother of three, faced my share of challenges. Nothing has prepared me for my struggles I'm experiencing with my 15-year-old middle son. So until recently, we had a good relationship. Our relationship was strong. Things were going well. Since he started high school, everything has changed. He's fallen in with a group of friends we don't know, and they seem to have little interest in academics. My once active and engaged son now spends most of his time on his phone, on social media, isolating himself from the family. His grades are slipping. He no longer wants to participate in the sports activities he once loved, and every attempt I make to connect with him or discuss my concerns is met with resistance or outright rejection. He is pushing me away, and I'm at a loss for how to reach him. Uh, how can I navigate this difficult situation? How can I break through the barriers he has built? I want to reconnect with him. I want to understand what's going on. And I want to re-engage. I want him to re-engage in his schoolwork and extracurricular activities. And the last point: how can I ensure he understands that my concern comes from a place of love and not control? That
Mm.
sounds like a theme in this. That he's feeling like she's trying to control him. Help me find a way to bridge the gap that has formed between us, and help me get my son back on.
Okay. These ones are always hard.
Yeah.
And when we're talking about kids, I'm never more vulnerable than when it comes to my sons. And part of the challenge we see when we're parenting is that there's an addiction to the command and control style of parenting because it works when they're young. And then when it stops working, it really stops working. And if we haven't started a more relational approach with them, then they feel the need to separate from us to create their own identity. And the worst possible thing that could happen is that they fail, because then we've set them up to be controlled by whoever comes along next.
Say that again?
Our kids are going to try to break free of us to establish themselves as independent human beings, to
Yeah.
create their own identity. If they fail to do that, if they fail to stand on their own 2 feet, to push away from us and stop having us be the ones who dictate what happens for them, that's probably the worst thing that could happen. Because now they're really well set up to be controlled by whoever comes along next to them, whether it's their friend group or a potential romantic partner. They will have failed to figure out how to set boundaries for themselves, how to stand up for themselves, how to have their own sense of self, and have it be
Right.
strong enough, resilient enough to stand in the face of the challenges that come. And a lot of times we have our kids' best interest at heart. And when I do parenting courses, I'll ask people who here has their kids' best interest at heart, and all the hands come. And I say, how many of your kids would say that? It's about a third, and it's pretty hesitant. There's strong reasons for that. Part of it is that when we think about our kids, we think about today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, 10 years down the road. We want them to do things right now that are going to benefit them years from now, and they're thinking about right. And so to earn the right to talk about the future, we need to help them be successful in the moment. And to define what success is, we actually have to include them in the conversation. And so the challenge that the mom is facing is that she wants him to get good grades. She wants him to engage in sporting activities and those kinds of things because it's going to have a payoff for him. It's down the road. That's not where his head is right now. And it's hard to watch, but what better time for him to make mistakes than right now when there are supports in place and there's a safety net there, rather than a few years from now when he's legally responsible for himself and the consequences are really dire.
Okay, so what's the actions that this mom needs to take?
I think she needs to start by having a conversation with her son about what success looks like for him right now. And not coming at him with, you need to do better in school, you need to get back into sports, your friends suck, those kinds of things. It needs to come from a place of acceptance. So she needs to pull the benevolence lever in a way that lands. And that means asking him what success looks like for him right now and how she can help him realize that. What are the challenges he's facing right now? What are the things that concern him? How can she give solid advice or just listen so that he's got a place to go to, so he doesn't feel like he's judged, so he doesn't feel like he's letting them down, like he's disappointed. She needs to reestablish that benevolence piece and not just have it come from her perspective, but he needs to feel it. When my oldest was 12 years old, he looked at me one day and he said, "Dad, even when you're upset with me, I know it's about what's best for me." That's called winning. And it didn't happen on the first try. And so what she needs is for him to believe deep in his soul that she has his best interest at heart.
So that
And she needs to start that by accepting what his goals and objectives are.
Yeah. So the judgment and the need or the real desire to either make improvements at school or to, start engaging in these sports activities or, showing up on time, helping out around the house, whatever they might be, that gets in the way of just showing up for them. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They need to feel like they're loved and accepted for who they are, not for who you want them to be.
Who you want them to be or what you want them to do to be the person you want them to be. Yeah. I've lived that.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Awesome. Great
Good
advice.
luck, Mom.
Good luck.